Hey guys, Dan here. This is going to be an episode of Kit Talk about the Real Grade Unicorn. So if you haven't already seen it, well, you are seeing it because here it is rotating in front of you. Uh, so let's start out with the really basic stuff. The too long didn't listen. Is this kit worth your time? Yeah, basically. You could do a lot worse. In a lot of ways, the Real Grade Unicorn made the high grade and the master grade kind of obsolete. It's got the transformation of the master grade and the stability of the high grade. It's cheaper than the master grade. It looks better. It's got more detail. So yeah, buy it. A plus. All right. So if you're still interested in listening to more about the kit, so on my build, basically, I decided I want to keep it pretty simple. This is a sanity project for me between a bunch of other larger projects, perfect grades, that Psycho Zaku that I started at the beginning of the year. I didn't really want to kill myself doing all sorts of color separation and crazy detail work. I like my specifically with this kit, the Unicorn. I like my kit to be just like kind of monotonous and constant in terms of colors. Um, the unicorn is this kind of monolithic white kit, and it almost, depending on how you paint it, it almost looks like it's carved out of marble, just like this big statuesque thing. So the kit comes like molded in white, and then a little bit of off gray, and take it or leave it, whatever. Basically, what I did is I just painted the whole damn thing, primered in white, painted it in white. Just due to the difference in base colors, you have some very slight variances in the white colors of the kit. So it winds up having, this multicolored effect without necessarily being as contrasty as maybe the printed plastic was. And then I kind of went back and I masked some things and I painted some things with it's a Gaia Color neutral gray one, which is just like I don't know, it's like 5 drops of gray off of white. It's still a very kind of white color, maybe more of a bone white or an ivory, something like that. And with the armor, I like I said, I kind of wanted to keep it kind of this monotonous white color, but I did decide to use the Kotoki decal set because, of course, I did. Like every unicorn I've ever done has had the Kotoki decals because I think, like, fundamentally, it's like the perfect design for the kit. After all, it's a model that was designed by Hajime Kotoki, and the dude knows what he's doing. The decals look fantastic. The little pops of red and gray just break up the monotony of the white, and it's a beautiful thing. I can appreciate that the real grade kind of color or decal set kind of like it's a riff on the Kotoki, but it's not as good. Um, it's it's just not as yeah, it's just not as good. I don't know how else to explain it. It's an opinion. I personally believe that the real grade decal design is just kind of crappy by comparison. I did use some real grade decals on the design just to kind of like break it up a little bit, mix it up. But probably buying that real grade decal set was probably a waste of money. So top coated the armor with flat clear, just because I wanted to contrast the flatness of the outer white armor with the glossy kind of glittery, sparkly psycho frame that I painted up. Um, and I talked about this as well in the Perfect Grade Psycho Frame video. Um, this was the prototype kit for coming up with a strategy for painting the Psycho Frame, and I did some things on this kit that I'm not doing on the Perfect Grade, but it was a good kind of test for it. So basically, with the Psycho Frame, I started out by mixing about 1 part of Mr. Color Clear Red to 1 part of Mr. Crystal Color. What is this? It's XC01 Diamond Silver. It's basically like a white pearlescent. So I mix those two together, and basically the white pearl injects like these teeny tiny, like super finely ground pieces of pearl glitter into the red paint without really tinting the red paint one way or the other. And then I painted that both sides of the Psychoframe because in a lot of cases you are seeing both sides, so I wanted the effect to kind of encompass these parts. And then I took some of the parts, like the big chest vents and the crotch piece and the kneecaps, and I either painted them with Mr. Metallic Superfine Silver, or I hand brushed them with Vallejo's silver color, and it really depended on where the part was and how complex the shape was, and basically how big of a pain in my ass it would be to mask all of that. For the shoulders, for example, there's the interior like frame of the shoulder is just the clear red Psychoframe. So if you don't paint the inside of the interior of the frame, like from looking into the arm, you just see like clear red in there. It looks kind of shitty. So what I did there is I, painted the superfine silver on the back side of the Psychoframe. So from the front, you're seeing the clear red, and then you're seeing into the part which is textured. There's like detail molded into it, and then the silver. So the silver gives it some body to it. It makes it look more substantial. And then I painted the back of it on top of the silver, gray, which doesn't affect the appearance from the front. It still looks like it's silver, but from the back side, now it looks gray, like it's part of the frame. I think it's probably the way it should be. I know with the dimensions of the kit, you can't really fit a gray part on top of the Psychoframe, but whatever. And then I left the Psychoframe kind of go. I didn't top coat that. I just left because obviously the clear red, it's a clear paint, so it kind of leaves a glossy finish. So it has this really nice kind of contrast with the white. What else did I do this kit? I'm kind of looking at it here. Obviously, you're looking at the rotating version on screen, but I have it here in my hand. With the Beam Saber, and I don't know if that will show up in the video. The Beam Saber I just coated with that diamond silver pearl, and then I used a little bit of fluorescent pink towards the base and just kind of like shaded up from where the emitter would be. And then I went back and added a little pinch of white around it too. So there's this kind of gradient effect that grades into the pearl. I think it looks really nice. Most of the times I'll just like flat coat the Beam Saber because it does provide more body to the Beam Saber, and you can see it and it catches the light better during photos. But I'm starting to really like using the fluorescent color on the saber and leaving the tip clear. It's just this nice transition. And it makes it more visible, and the pearl adds like a nice little kind of reflective quality to it that the clearness of the Beam Saber doesn't always kind of manifest on its own. As for the last part of this kit, I guess would be the weapons. I didn't really do anything too crazy with them. I did wind up painting the bazooka a different color and, the interior of the shield from the inner frame, but I left the beam rifle pretty much the same color as the inner frame. Maybe it's like a hair lighter, but they're pretty close. This kit, for all of its pluses, like, it does still have like a seam line running down the center of the front of the beam rifle and the rear of the bazooka, so you still have to fix that, which is kind of lame, but I mean, it's not bad. And it's really only apparent in like a few places like the scopes. So those I seamed and painted, and it looks okay. Yeah, I think that's really it about this kit. I mean, it's ultimately still just a unicorn kit. I've built, probably a half dozen of these in different sizes by now. The real grade was definitely a really nice step up from the high grade, for example. Like I have a high grade unicorn in the unicorn mode, which is like a full head shorter than this kit, like like a good like centimeter at least, which I mean in the frame or in the scale of 144 is like, geez, almost like 2 meters difference, and it really shows. Like the real grade is bulkier. It's got these big shoulders. The legs are thicker. When it's in destroy mode, it just the chest opens and it just looks massive by comparison to the high grade. It's a really great looking kit. Definitely the like just a better by a huge margin than the Sinanju. The only problem I had with this kit is the action-based connector. I think it uses the same exact connector on the Sinanju, and then it's a piece of garbage. My kit's fallen off of the stand like probably 2 or 3 times now, and I actually broke the solid split horn V-fin on this kit twice, actually, both ends. So that's basically in the garbage now, and I'm painting the horn that's transformable, which isn't my first. Obviously, wasn't my first pick. Otherwise, I would have painted it from the beginning. Um, so that was really kind of disappointing and upsetting because it happened while I was photographing the kit, and I just had kind of like super glue it together, and the seam's there. It's not super visible in the photos, but it just really sucks breaking something at the 11th hour. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the kit talk for this kit. If you don't have this kit already, you're kind of like on the fence. You're considering the high grade or the master grade instead of this. I just say screw it. Buy this version. It may be the best real grade right now, and I say that hesitantly because I haven't built all of the real grades, but I mean it's definitely up there. I think the Banshee like is out as of this video, maybe even of today. So I mean, even if you don't like the Unicorn, the Banshee is essentially the same thing with a different color scheme and slightly different head and some other shit. So I mean, that's just buy it. It's a good kit. I'll have a link in the description to this kit on Amazon if you want to support the channel. You can just buy it through there. Great kit, pretty fun build. Didn't take too long, and yeah, I'll probably get the Banshee at some point and probably do the same thing with the Psycho Frame, just with probably like clear yellow or orange and some sort of pearl. So, all right, guys, thanks for checking out the video. I really appreciate you taking a shot at this and making it all the way to the end. If you haven't already, you can like and comment, subscribe to the channel, and support me on Patreon if you really want to help me out. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. See you next time. Take care of yourself. Dan out.